Welcome back to Elevate from Burnout to Bliss. I'm Reginald Clark, and as always, I'm joined by my incredible co-host, business partner and wife, Ebony.
Hey everyone, we are so glad you're here for another powerful conversation.
Today's episode is all about something so many of us struggle with, living in the moment. We spend so much time planning, striving, and looking ahead that we often forget to truly embrace where we are right now.
And to help us unpack the power of presence, we have a very special guest, Courtney Long. Courtney is on her own journey of learning how to slow down, enjoy life, and stop worrying about the next step.
That's right. We're diving into what it really means to be present, how to shift from overthinking to truly experiencing life, and the freedom that comes with letting go of constant planning.
So if you've ever felt like life is passing you by while you're busy preparing for the future, this episode is for you.
Let's get into it. Welcome to episode 8, Living in the Moment.
Let's do it. Yeah, I am so very excited to have our guest here. Courtney Long is more than my friend. She is my sister, and I'm so glad to have her here. And what sparked this episode...
We're glad to have her here.
Yes, we are glad. I'm super duper glad.
Oh, okay.
So what sparked the idea for this topic is the conversation Courtney and I had the other day. When you are battling or handling so many things, it's hard to actually be focused on one. So we just had a really good conversation, and I thought it was something that other people could benefit from.
Cool. I'm excited about it. Let's do it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, Courtney.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And as Ebony said, we are more than friends. She is definitely my sister. And Reggie is my brother by proxy.
Thank you for that, Courtney.
I actually met Reggie before I met Ebony, which is so crazy. But we go back a long ways, and I'm so happy to be here and to be a part of this process. And as Ebony was saying, we were having a discussion about worry and doing the next thing. And you asked me to introduce myself. I'm Courtney Long. I like all things crafty and doing the things.
She can build anything.
She sure can.
I can try to build anything. I've been married for 23 years to Bernard Long, and we have 2 beautiful boys. We have 1 young adult and 1 that is on his way out the doors his senior year. So soon we'll
be empty
nesters, which is another kind of thing we were talking about, worrying and doing the next thing and being present.
Right.
Because for a very long time, I have been wife and mother.
Right.
And so that's been my journey of being a wife and a mother. And I think for so many people on so many levels, it's like, you know, you worry about your spouse and about your children and your parents and siblings and all of the things. So that's how we started this conversation.
Oh, man, that's
awesome.
great. That was great, Courtney. So when you think about, you know, kind of how society is set up today, let me ask you a question, Courtney. In your opinion, why do you think we struggle so much with presence, with being present?
I think that we put a lot of effort into creating moments. One of the things that I like to do for my children is create experiences for them. And what I found is that I spend so much time trying to create the experience. And in my head, it should go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, these are all the things. But for them, they're enjoying the moment because they don't know what the experience is supposed to be.
Okay.
And so I think that when it comes to society, especially with social media is the worst thing that could have happened. It's one of the best things, but the worst thing as far as worrying about the next thing, and am I living up to what this person is doing, or am I where I'm supposed to be at this point in my life, right? And so it creates this level of doubting yourself. It can create a level of worrying about, am I doing enough?
Right.
And so I think that that's one of the things that society has set up is like, you know, what am I supposed to be doing when your purpose may not be any of the things that you're looking at?
That's great. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Almost putting us on like a collective timetable. Like we're all on the same timetable when everyone's journey is different.
Absolutely.
One of the things Courtney mentioned, when Courtney mentioned social media, one of the first things I thought about is sometimes I catch myself trying to capture a moment. because I know I want to post it later. Then I realized, did I really just enjoy the moment? Because I was so busy trying to get the video right and all this and that.
And then you got to go back and look at the video to see what happened because you can't see it the same.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. We're so busy trying to, capture it versus experiencing it sometimes.
I think that we spend a lot of time trying to curate moments, right?
Yeah.
So we're trying to give off that level of, this is great. This is great, grand, and wonderful. And sometimes you struggle with presence because you're trying to curate those moments.
And then, and I'm speaking from experience, if it does not come out how you had it in your head. Now, keep in mind, nobody else knows the plan.
Absolutely.
You're the only one that knows the plans. You're the only one that knows how you wanted it. And then when it doesn't come out exactly how you wanted it, then now that's your focus for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Again, I 100% agree. Like I said, I try to curate experiences, or because I have a wonderful partner. Please don't let me leave him out because we do this thing as a team, okay?
Right.
But we try to curate experiences for our children and our families and ourselves, right? So even when we're vacationing, he had to tell me, listen, itineraries are not the thing. We are vacationing, right? And so, like you said, if it doesn't come out the way that I envisioned it, then I'm bummed about it. However, whoever else is experiencing it with you, they know nothing about it. It's great to them, right? But you worried yourself to death to try and pull it off, and nobody cares but you.
Wow. Courtney takes me to, now, just so everybody knows, Courtney's husband is my best friend. We grew up together in Jackson, Tennessee, so obviously I know him very well. But Courtney, I got a question for you. Do you think that men and women struggle with presence differently?
Absolutely.
In what way?
I think that as a woman, and this is just my opinion, I think that we are built different. And what I mean by that is that we have been conditioned to take on the concerns, the woes of everyone, right? You want to make sure that everyone around you is good. And I think that whether you're a mom or a wife or whomever, I think the innate desire in a woman is to make sure that everyone around them is good.
Almost like an Olivia Pope.
Almost. We are out here saving the world.
Fixing everything.
We have our capes on and we are trying to save the world, right? But what you do is you set yourself up, right? Because you become that point person because you're always trying to take care of somebody else. So it's been my experience that I'm the point person for a lot of people. Whether that's in my home, in my immediate family, my extended family, at work, in organizations that I'm a part of, church, you become that point person for so many people and you end up thinking for so many people. Whereas I feel like men have the luxury on purpose of not doing that.
Right.
If I can't control it, I'm not going to worry about it. And I think that men have the ability to compartmentalize the way that women cannot.
Interesting.
That reminds me of Brother Ines. Remember, he talked to you about what a woman's job is and what a man's job is, and I don't remember the specifics, but I remember it was a pretty lengthy list.
I'm gonna tell you
for the women.
Well, I remember.
Okay,
I'm gonna show you this. This is a gentleman he's deceased now, but he pulled me aside to give me some advice right before Ebony and I got married. And the way he explained it, he said, when God had 100 things for mankind to do, 100 things. He said he gave 97 of them to the woman. He gave me 3. And I don't remember the 97, but I got the 3 down. He said provide, protect, and lead. But everything else, he said the woman do that. And so I agree with you 100%. You said something that sparked another question in me. My question is, Courtney, do you think that by taking on so much, that it's easy for a woman to kind of lose herself in all of that?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely. One of the first things that I said when we started was, I've been a wife and a mother forever. And because I spend so much time making sure that my family is good, I'm just now getting to the point of trying to learn, well, what does Courtney like to do?
Yeah.
Because our oldest is 22. the baby just turned 18. He's still my baby. They both are, right? And so once your children get to a certain age, they really don't want to be bothered with you, for real, right? And so now it's like, you know, we've solidified our, you know, between my husband and I, our business meetings and our date nights and things like that. He has his things he likes to do. And now it's like, okay. Well, what is it that you like to do?
Right.
And so you have to try and find yourself, because you spend so much time worrying about, is everybody else okay, that you lose yourself in the process. And it's you struggle to try and find your identity. Who am I other than Nar's wife and Trey and Donovan's mom?
And Gail's daughter.
And Gail's daughter, absolutely.
And Chris's sister.
Yes, absolutely.
So let me ask you this: we thinking about, and it's amazing, and I applaud you that you've recognized the need that, hey, I gotta find myself, I gotta rediscover this. What do you think sparked your desire to focus more? Was there a moment that something that happened to say, you know what, I need to focus more on the presence?
Let me be clear about one thing. Let me clear something up first.
Okay.
I have no problem with the position that I've held in my family.
Gotcha.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
So, but you know, sometimes people get confused, and so I don't have any issue with that. I absolutely love my roles. I love being that man's wife and them kids' mama.
Absolutely.
I love that, right? And so that's not a problem for me.
Right.
I am 100% dedicated to that. Bernard told me, he was like,
I'm scared.
You should do it. You should. Well, we have conversations, right? We are friends first, which I appreciate in our relationship. That it's not transactional. We actually are friends, and we operate from that space. And so he was like, you know, you do so much for this family. What do you want to do?
Man.
You know, take some time out to do. He encourages me. Take a trip. Go do this. Go self-care. He's very encouraging about that. And it's funny because your children, they will emulate what they see. Okay? So the other night, and this is just an example, the other night I had a headache. I was determined to fold clothes. I have migraines. Y'all know this. I have migraines, and I was determined to get the clothes folded. Because why? Nobody cares about the clothes being folded. But that's one of those things, one of those care things that I have to do. So I had a pile of clothes on the couch next to me, and I just kind of laid over on the couch. And Donovan says, well, Mom, why don't you go get in the bed? And I was like, oh, your dad's back there watching TV. It's no problem. Like, you know, I'm fine right here watching a game with you. He got up. He went in the bedroom. He said something to his daddy. And in 2 minutes, his dad came out the bedroom. He's like, babe, go lay down. For me, I was fine. I was fine. But my child recognized that she needs to care for herself.
Right.
And so everybody around me is saying, do the things to take care of yourself.
That's beautiful.
And so then I had to try and figure out, okay, well, what does that look like? You know, it's not just running the errands, going to the grocery store, cooking dinner. Service is my love language. So when I'm making dinner, or the house is clean, or everybody is taken care of, like, I feel loved, because that's my, you know, that's my love language. And so everybody around me has said, take care of yourself. You're good. If you can't pour from an empty cup. If you're not good, we're not good. So that was one of the realizations. Like, I knew it. You know how you know something in the back of your mind, like you need to do the things. But I always would find an excuse. Well, I could use that time to do X. Or I could, you know, I don't need to shop. The boys need shoes. They don't.
And X was always something for someone else.
Correct. Absolutely.
Because it seems like it's always something that needs to get done.
Absolutely.
Well, because it don't seem like there is.
Well, true.
There's always something.
But who is it important to?
Right.
So the thing, folding clothes, nobody cared about the socks. No, not one person but me.
But we tend to have this checklist for ourselves.
Absolutely.
Now that if I check these things off, I'm a good mother. If I check these things off, I'm a good wife. If I check these things off, I'm a good sister. But who created the list?
Right.
We did.
Yes.
So we can change the list.
Self-inflicted.
So do you think that constantly, and I'm going to go back a little bit, constantly worrying about the future, like that causes anxiety and burnout?
Yes. And I think that I have been taught to plan, protect, and prosper.
Yeah.
And there is a certain amount of planning that goes into that. So as you're planning, you're worried about the next thing. Our economy is not the best, or the kids might need a down payment for their house, or is their credit good? Are we building credit for them? Is my credit good? Are we okay?
Yes.
Do we have enough money in the bank? Well, what about this IRA? Is the IRA and the 401k? All of those things come up, and that might not be for an average person, but that is how my mind works. I am a serial to-do lister. Every day I write out a to-do list, and I take great joy in marking off the things. But you have to remember that your to-do list, you might not get any of that done. You don't know what your day is going to look like. And so when you're looking at the future, or even the next day, there's some worry that goes into that, because you're planning based on all of these factors going right, or all of these factors staying the same, and they don't. And you'll never be able to account for everything that could happen, right? There's no, I'm not God, and we don't have a crystal ball. Like, anything could change at any time. And so there is a certain amount of worry when you go into looking towards the future, and it does make you anxious because you can't control any of it. And did I mention I got an A++ personality? Oh, okay. So there's a certain amount of control that you want to have, but in all honesty, we don't have any control.
We don't.
Man,
Let me ask you a
that's some
question,
good
Courtney. When you look at, so it's the end of the day, let's say you had 10 things on your to-do list. You got 3 of them done. How does those 7 that were undone, how does that make you feel?
I
That's a
have
good question.
worked on, that's an excellent question. I've worked on that.
Okay.
Because with anything you prioritize, right? And so if it's, did I make a grooming appointment for the dog? Well, that's not that important. But if it was, did you pay this bill? Then that's a little more important. So what I've learned is that I can't really define myself by my to-do list, because some things are just nice to have. And so you have to look at the priority. You do those priorities. It's just like being at work. You do the priority things first. You take care of the big business first, and then if there is something that didn't get done, oh well. And what can you delegate?
Right.
What can I give to my husband, right? That A++ in me says, oh, I want to do it. No. That man is capable, because if he wasn't, I wouldn't be with him.
Absolutely.
Okay? But, what can you delegate to somebody else, which helps with that anxiety and that worry. If you can learn how to delegate to somebody else that you trust to do the things, do that, which frees you up to relax.
Yes.
Right.
Breathe.
Yeah.
Take a minute, So that's, I hope I answered your question.
You absolutely did. Guys, we are having a great conversation with Courtney Long as she tells us more about living in the moment, the power of presence. Be sure to stay with us through this commercial break. We'll be right back in just a few. And we are back. Guys, if you missed the first segment, please do yourself a favor and go back to the top of this podcast and catch it. Courtney is giving us some great practical information.
Oh my goodness, it was so good.
So good, man. Just on how to, the way I'm processing it is just to take a step back and enjoy what you work for. Just enjoy life.
Don't look at your life through a lens.
Yes. Courtney, let me ask you a question. When you think about, you think about this world today where we are, so much anxiety running rampant, anger, fear. It's a lack of joy and a lack of happiness. But what I want to ask you is, Courtney, how do you differentiate between joy and happiness?
Wow, that is an excellent question.
Okay.
So if you think about the definition of joy, happiness is included in that.
Okay.
So you can be happy with things, but does it bring your soul joy, right? I can be happy with an ice cream cone, but it doesn't make me joyful, right?
Gotcha.
So you need to tap into those things that bring you great joy, whatever that looks like. If that's a hobby, if parts of your relationship bring you great joy, you can be happy. But I think that happiness can be fleeting sometimes because it changes. It changes your mood. It's based on something else. Sometimes your happiness is based on something else. And I had someone to tell me one time before Bernard and I got married, we were in a class at church, and the one who was leading the class said that it was not up to his wife to make him happy.
Okay.
He had to be happy first before he could experience happiness. So those things change, but they could change on your mood. I can be happy about something and get a phone call and it changed my mood.
Right.
I think joy is more solid. When you're joyful about something, it's a you feel it in your body almost.
Yeah.
It's an experience. Joy is an experience, and you can feel it deep, right? Happiness changes. Joy is something that comes from the inside. To me.
Happiness is a mood, joy is an experience. I love that.
That's great. I'm trying to get myself together from that answer. So I know there are probably countless number of people that identify with the things that you were saying in the first segment because they feel the exact same way, but they don't know how to undo some of the responsibilities or some of the tasks or even some of the pressures that they put on themselves to perform really for themselves. So what are some tips that you would give our listeners to just say, hey, how can I just shift this one thing to give myself more time or more self-care?
So I'm still undoing. So that's the thing. I'm still undoing. I have two things. One, when I get up in the morning, I talk to my Savior. That is the most important thing that I can ever do. I try to teach that to my children. When I crack my eyeballs open, I say thank you. But then I also go in my closet and I have prayer and meditation time.
All right now.
Now, that being said, that does not mean I am not intentional all the time. And when I say that, I'm still going to talk to him. But, your mind starts going. Of course. It's like, oh, I got to do this. And
it just takes off.
It does. And don't pick your phone up. Because your phone contains social media, but it also contains my personal email and my work email and my personal and work calendars. So if I pick my phone up, it's over. But one thing I do is I'm very intentional about talking to God in the morning because that sets your day.
It does.
And what my prayer has been for the last year is purpose. I don't want to live this life and not be purposeful. I don't want to live this life and go on to glory and not fulfill the purpose that he's set for me. So that has been something that I've been praying about and actually hearing his voice. So that's the one thing. The second thing is, and this is what has really changed a lot of things for me, no is a complete sentence.
Oh my goodness.
Man.
I was that person who, someone would ask me to do something and I couldn't do it, but I would try my every which way to try and figure out, how can I do this for this person? They asked me to do it, so they trust me to do it. How can I do it? But no is a complete sentence. And I would try to explain my no. No, but. I'm sorry, but. Unfortunately, I can't, but. No, the answer is no. And they don't need a reason, and it doesn't matter. I think that the undoing that I'm trying to undo is that I have always been the type of person, and I learned this from my mom, my grandma, and my aunts, that we just naturally want to do and take care of other people, right? But I found that I would cross the ocean for somebody who wouldn't jump a puddle for me.
Come on, man.
And so...
And would it be somebody who you knew wouldn't jump a puddle for you?
I didn't know that until it was time.
Until it was time for them to cross that same ocean.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And so when you recognize a thing, you recognize that thing and you take note and you move on.
And you adjust.
You adjust, absolutely. Right. You absolutely adjust. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to mistreat you or be any different towards you. I'm the same me. I just clocked it. I made a note and we're going to move on from here. I love you, but to protect me, my peace, my worry, anxiety, pressure, all of the things, I have to move from that space, right? So I had to be okay with no. I had to say, Courtney, it's fine.
Right.
It's okay. And again, my husband, great partner. He knows that's something I struggle with. Okay. So he'll tell me, it's okay, babe. Like, you said no, it's all right. They will figure it out. They'll figure it out. And I think that a lot of responsibility with women is we feel like we're the answer. They'll figure it out. If somebody's asking you for money and they keep asking and then you decide, well, you know what, if I keep giving you, you're not going to find another resource. You're not going to figure it out. They'll figure it out. And that wasn't the thing, but that's just an example.
I know what you mean.
And so when you tell someone no, or you put parameters, or you put up boundaries, then you can start to undo that constant need to plan, to worry, to be stressed about all the things. You talk to God, ask him what he wants you to do about a thing, and things that you cannot do anything about, don't worry about it.
That's right.
I can't do anything about it. What am I worried about it for?
Sometimes in those no moments, that's how you learn that the person would not jump a puddle for you.
Absolutely.
Like, well, we were all good before I told you no.
Yeah.
Like, what happened?
You know what? Some people, to your point, some people base their relationship with you on the last answer you gave them.
What have you done for me
You
lately?
could have told them
Come on,
yes
Janet.
100 times. But that first time you said no, now you are no good, so-and-so, so-and-so. It's like, no, what about the other 100 times?
Right.
That's irrelevant. I want to go back to something you just said, Courtney.
Sure.
You brought up the word purpose. And that's been something that's resonated with me probably when I hit 40. When I hit 40, I remember calling Bernard. And I waited till he hit 40, though. I waited. So I had to wait a few months. And I said, I probably gave him about 2 weeks after. I said, hey, man, you feel different? Something happens for me in at 40, man. It's like, I still can't quite put it into words, but ever since then, I've been kind of living my life with the mindset, okay, when I get to the end of the road and I look back, what do I want to see has happened? And it's helped me discover my purpose. So my question to you is, do you feel confident that you've discovered your purpose?
Absolutely not.
Really?
No.
Okay.
I don't know why that is.
Okay.
And again, it might be that list of things, the list that we create for ourselves, right? Because when I started out at 13, by 22, I was supposed to do X or whatever. And I think that the list just kind of changes as you get older. But so when it comes to my purpose, I really I'm one of God's billboard kids, right? God need to put it on a billboard. He needs to call me by my whole name.
Right.
I'm talking to you.
Can you send me a text, please, God?
Please,
Thank you.
Please, can you tell
Courtney
me?
Nicole.
Yes, please. That lives here. This is you the one,
Right.
because there might be more than one Courtney Nicole, okay? So I'm one of his billboard kids, and I think that he may have already told me, but there's a fear. When you step into purpose, there's also this fear. Again, there's no control there. So when you're stepping into your purpose to do things, you're afraid of, because it's something you've never done before.
Yeah.
Man.
And so I'm thinking that my purpose has already been introduced to me. I just have to hold on to it.
And embrace it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So God needs to send you. Can you please refer to the previously sent email?
Yes.
So obviously, you know, what we do, you're very familiar with what Ed and I do in our full-time roles, is helping people make good decisions with their money. Let me ask you a question. How do you think financial stability plays into, and you actually kind of mentioned this a little earlier, how do you think it plays into that worry part of it, as well as either help or hinder people to be able to enjoy the present?
Well, if you need financial advice, P3
Thank you.
is
thank
excellent.
you.
I have had a great experience with the team here, but in all seriousness, and that was serious. Y'all are fantastic at what you do.
I appreciate that.
But I think that when you can alleviate some of the financial worry, I think that that's a big part of it, right? Because we don't know what the future looks like, as much planning, as much financial stability as you feel like you can hold on to, that helps. Because you don't have to worry about, check to check, or if, my mortgage or something happens to the house, if there's a natural disaster, I can cover the things, right? So I think that financial stability does help with that worry. Now, will you be able to cover everything? You'll never be able to plan for everything.
Right.
It's like a new job, a new marriage, a new baby, what you thought it would be is not, right? But I think that financial stability does help with that worry.
Yep. And
It takes some pressure
You
off.
mentioned planning. How do we strike that balance? How do you strike the balance between planning for the future but still living today?
You have to be okay with what you've decided,
Okay.
right? So you have to plan for the future. You can't just leave it up in the air. That's not a thing, because that's more worry for me.
Right.
But you have to be okay with this is what I've decided. What am I doing each day to work towards that goal? Because you have to do something each day, even if that's deciding not to eat out. You know, now you can spend $15 at McDonald's, and it's not good.
Okay?
Right. Easy.
And not good for you.
It's not good to you or for you, right? And so that's $15 I can put towards buying stock over here or whatever, right? So you have to make decisions each day. How am I moving towards my goals? So you have to strike a balance with being okay and readjusting. So if you've decided to plan financially for this one thing, whether it's a life event or end of life, you be okay with that, work towards that, but then adjust when needed.
Yeah.
And just make good with doing those things, being okay with that.
You know, I've seen the level of anxiety as it relates to finances rise so much over the last few weeks with just different things going on politically, economically, here locally in our city. People are really scared right now.
Absolutely.
Because they're uncertain.
Because uncertainty leads to fear. And fear typically leads to bad decisions.
It
Absolutely.
typically
You know,
does.
so those are good words of wisdom, Courtney, and I know it's going to help some listeners out. Like Courtney said, you just got a plan. And you know what, I think you have to understand that with all your planning, it's still going to be limited. You do all you can do. And, you know, it's one of the things that we learned in our fraternity. Do thy duty, which is best. Leave unto the Lord the rest. That's all you can. All you can do is all you can do.
All you can do is all you can do, and not worry about the rest of it.
Not worry about the rest of
Again,
it.
what you can control, you control.
Right.
What you can't control, gotta fill in the gap.
There you go.
And I know that's hard for people to realize, even in the moment. Like, there have been times in my life where I feel like I question him, and I'm not supposed to, of course. But what I can see and what I believe, they don't align all the time.
Right.
And so you're seeing one thing, you see the markets, you see the crime rates, you see jobs are leaving, right? And what you believe is, I'm believing something bigger, and the two don't connect at all. But you have to do what you can do, and it is what it is.
Yep.
And that's hard to hold on to. And it's hard for somebody who is a serial planner like myself, or an A++ personality, or whatever, someone who has a certain amount of control. That's very difficult. But like you said, all you can do is all you can do.
That's it.
A friend of ours says that there's no recession for God's people.
That's
I
right.
like it.
Courtney, back during, let me share this with you real quick. Back during the pandemic, you know, many people weren't traveling. So we decided to travel, do a cross-country trip. And because we knew there weren't a lot of travelers out there, we just Ebony actually would book us a room as we came into a city and decided to stay there that night.
Based on when he got tired of driving.
Whenever I got tired. Do you think you could ever do something like that?
Absolutely not.
I could have answered that because we talked about it at the time.
No, and I'm like, what? How does that work? I'm not set up that way.
Yeah.
I could try it.
Yeah.
It absolutely, where I am right now today,
It would drive her crazy.
it would drive me nuts. And I had mentioned in one of the earlier segments about itineraries for vacations. I've given up the itinerary.
Okay.
The written itinerary.
Oh,
I
but
still
you
have
gotta-
one in my head.
Do they know that? Does the family know that?
Nope.
Okay.
But I've been okay. I've learned to be okay with, if we don't get to these things, it's okay. Which took me years and years and,
And
years
that's not
to
a
do.
bad thing because some
Yeah.
things may only be open on certain days. So it's not a bad thing to have it mentally, know what you're going to do each day.
I guess.
I take the win.
That's right. Well, guys, y'all, look, stay with us. We, man, this conversation is great, but we will be right back after this break. Remember, it's time to elevate. And we are back for our final segment.
So, Courtney, worry and stress are always going to be a part of your life. So how do you manage that and learn to actually trust the process and the journey of life?
The way that you manage that is realize that as a people, we are not okay with contentment. We are called to be content. We're not okay with contentment. And so you have to get to a point to where you're not striving for the next thing. I think in everyday life,
it's hard.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
is hard.
And I think in everyday life, you just kind of have to let some things be. So I'll share something with you and your listeners.
Okay.
So our oldest son graduated from college last May, magna cum laude.
Oh,
We
Man,
did
praise
good.
God. Yeah,
Yes.
right.
yes.
And so I have a complicated parental situation, right? My parents are divorced, and it's just complicated sometimes. But when you have family events where everybody is supposed to be present, for me, that daughter that wants to make everybody comfortable, I stressed. I had rooms reserved. I made sure we had dinner reservations. Who's going to sit where at the graduation? Oh, absolutely. And on the day of graduation, I said, you know what, bump it. This is my baby's day. My son is graduating, and I don't care who has anything to say about anything. I will be mama bear on y'all today, right? And thankfully, everybody did what they were supposed to do, and we had no issues. But I had to realize that in that moment, this was something special for my son. This was a major accomplishment in his life, and how dare I put stressors in the way or something that could change my attitude, right? Because if everybody didn't act right, mama was going to have an attitude. And so I had to step outside and say, no, we're not doing this, right? This is going to be a great day.
Yeah.
And whoever doesn't want to participate in great day can go get in the car.
Right.
Okay? So when you're looking at everyday life, and that's just an example, right? But I had to decide in that moment that I'm going to be okay with whatever happens, because I can't, again, control grown people or this situation. It is what it is, right? So one thing that I would say is you have to learn how to be content. You're not going to have the best of the best of the best all the time. We have highs and lows, right? And we have to be okay with highs and lows. That's just a part of life. You're not going to be on the top all the time. And so you have to be content with wherever you are at that moment.
Man,
That's good.
That's great. And I love that you circle back to, because I made a mental note as you were speaking, to that word content. Because I think a misunderstanding of what content is. So some people I've heard, they don't, in their minds, contentment is, I'm just going to wallow and stay where I am.
Settling.
Settling, yeah. So, Courtney, when you talk about being content, contrast and compare that for me to settling versus, basically how do you balance contentment with wanting more?
So contentment is being okay with where you are, actually looking at where you are and enjoying those things and being content in that space until something else happens, right? Settling, in my mind, is this is not what's best for me. This is not what's right for me, but I'm all right with it.
Right.
That's not contentment. Yeah. Contentment is that I am good with where I am, and it's a blessing to be where I am, right? There are some things that I can learn from where I am, and if I stop looking and trying to judge myself against somewhere else, this is actually good, and being okay with that. Settling is the opposite. Settling is, this is some trash. I know it's some trash, but I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
It's a difference.
And so many people, they just compare. And then social media, we talked about it earlier, it doesn't make it any better. Because now and what's going on social media is probably fake.
Listen, let me tell you something. With the Real Housewives of and the basketball this of, those people rent those places. They have a whole production team. They don't look like that when they get up out the bed. That is not their vehicle. It belongs to a fleet of somebody else. Or if you're on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, somebody got in the corner of the room.
Exactly.
Made that corner of the room pretty, and they got roaches over there. And that's not your thing, right? So you have to understand that everything you see, everything that is presented to you, most of the time it's the highlight reel.
Right.
Exactly.
Right? I'm not going to give you that, whatever is going on, I'm going to give you all of the best things, right? And so that's what it is. That's what social media is. It is social.
So,
And who can't keep it together for 5 seconds?
Listen, and if you can't, you have a problem. You need
real
to be
problem.
diagnosed and see somebody. Okay?
And you would think you'd have to explain that to children. But it's good and grown adults that do not understand exactly what you just broke down.
No, they are the ones.
You killing yourself trying to compare yourself to somebody that don't even know.
They don't know you at all.
At all.
And some people, in some instances, literally killing themselves to try to look like what you see on your phone that's filtered. With the latest app.
Hello?
You know what I'm saying? It's
that lady don't look like that. If you ran into her in the Kroger, you wouldn't know who she was.
At all.
I know she is. I want to circle back again, though. Ebony, when you initially asked Courtney the question you asked last, you included a phrase. You said the process of life. The process of life. Courtney or Ebony, either one of y'all, I want y'all to talk about, when you say process of life, what do you mean with that?
Wow, that's an excellent question. Life is a process.
It is.
It changes
each
day, right? And you have to adjust. My dad has always told me that life is a series of adjustments. And that's true. In a process, things change. If you look at a process on an assembly line or whatever, life is an assembly line. It changes. There is a process that you go through. There is a growth process over your lifetime. And that's spiritual growth, that's physical growth, that's mental growth. All of those things are process, and processes have steps. And so life
that's good stuff.
is steps, right? And that's what a process means to me. And you step and you continue to step, right? That's you do the process of life.
Man, that's
and there's
good
no
stuff.
singular goal to life where it's not one facet, it's multifaceted. There's no singular goal. So with each step, and there aren't silos. So I may make a step here and then realize, okay, it creates this outcome over here for this secondary goal. So let's adjust. Like you said, you're adjusting as you go. But with each step, each part of it is important. And you don't want to get to the end and you read a biography. If you were to read a biography about yourself, not an autobiography, because you didn't stop to enjoy it enough to remember what you even did. You're reading a biography like, well, when did that happen?
Yeah.
Well, when did all this stuff happen? Because you weren't there. You were physically there, but you weren't mentally there.
You know,
Because mentally you were off in the distance trying to figure out things 5 years from now.
Yes.
to your point, obviously I work with a lot of retirees, and people beyond, deep into their retirements, as people start to wind down and do more reflection back, one thing I hear consistently, the regret that most people have is not what they did. They regret the things they didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
10 out of 10 times, that's what they regret. Because they were too busy living to enjoy life.
Or racking up accolades.
Yeah.
I held this position.
Right.
I did this. I started this organization. Well, do you know what your child's favorite color is? Do you know
Rainbow.
Do you know what your significant other likes to eat? You spend time outside of home doing all of these great things, and then you're horrible to come home to. Like, you can't, you can't do those things, right? And you have a list of all of these things that you've accomplished, and you really haven't accomplished anything.
Guys, you may be wondering, well, by now you're probably not wondering, why this episode is so key and why we wanted to insert this. Because, Courtney, I'm hoping you know that our audience, for people that's, kind of burnt out, know that they got something else inside them they want to do. So these are people that are high achievers, our listeners are. And we wanted to put something in here that says, while you're achieving, though, while you're planning, while you're doing all this stuff, there's still a life that has to be lived right now.
Yes.
You have to carve out time. And the subtitle of the podcast is From Burnout to Bliss. And doing all of the things that we've been talking about causes burnout. And the thing is, burnout you don't get burnt out in one aspect of your life. It affects every aspect. So if you're burnt out at work, how pleasant do you think you're going to be at home with your husband and kids? Not very.
Or the reverse. If you're burnt out at home,
Right.
you ain't getting
How
nothing
productive, right, are you going to be at work? So it's key to be mindful and stop, smell the roses, and live.
You can get burnt out at church.
You can definitely get burnt out at church.
So once they find out you're a worker, oh boy, they coming.
Yeah.
Like, I can't do all of the work.
But yes, you can.
Except
it's unto the Lord. And that's what they use, right? Right. It's unto the Lord. You can do it.
The Lord said I need to rest sometimes.
Because he did.
He did.
He did. I promise. And that burnout that you're speaking of it will manifest itself physically.
It sure will.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it will.
It will.
It absolutely will. So we talk about, again, people achieving, and we want to move people in their achievements from achievement to experience, you all. How do we do that? How do we move people from achievement to experience? How do we do that?
You touch grass. I've heard that so much in
like
the
that.
last couple of months. Is touch grass. Now, me, I'm allergic to grass, so I will have to
I
find.
did not know that.
I have terrible allergies.
Really?
And this pollen,
Okay.
out here, is trying to take my life. But I cannot now. But my grass might be something else, right?
Right.
So touch those things that bring you joy.
Yeah.
That create a sense of happiness momentarily or whatever. So you find your grass and you touch it. You center yourself. You breathe. Take a moment, right? You have to find pockets of joy in life. You have to.
Man.
Otherwise, what are you doing here?
Yeah, yeah.
Just existing? That was a conversation I had to have with myself. Sis, you are just existing. You are working and doing, you leave job 1, which is my family, to go to job 2, to come back to job 1. You're existing from day to day. So what are you doing
Yeah.
to make yourself a whole person?
Wow.
Man.
Now, one of the things, and I don't know if you were going to go here
You
next.
can go ahead.
Okay. One of the things, Courtney, I know that is your grass is one of your releases, because I watch your creations, is your woodwork.
Yes.
And she's so awesome at it, y'all. Literally, she can build anything.
I
She's gonna be
appreciate
modest,
that.
but that's
So if
not
you
the
see
case.
Courtney at Home Depot, she's not on the errand for Bernard. She's there for herself.
And I know the aisles.
She knows that. Courtney, tell us how'd you get into woodwork? How'd you get into that?
So I'm cheap. Okay, so let's start right there. I'm frugal. We'll use frugal. Yes, I'm mindful of my money.
Yes.
Okay.
Cost conscious.
There we go. And so there was some, I don't know, it was a bench or something. Like Bernard he likes outdoor spaces. I'm allergic to him. He loves them, right?
Okay.
That's the Jackson in him. He wants to be outside. And so because I want to make things great for other people, I was like, how can I help him create this space out here? What can I contribute to this space? And there was this wood bench that I saw, like, I don't know, on Instagram or something. And so I inquired about it, and it was going to cost hundreds. And I was like, man, look, I can do that, I think, right? Let me find the plans.
Yeah.
And so for that birthday, I think that was about 2 years ago, maybe 3 in the summer. For that birthday, I told him, I said, I want a table saw for my birthday. And he just kind of looked at me and he said, a what? I said, a table saw, like a table saw. He said, to cut wood?
Yes.
Yeah. And so I went to YouTube University and I learned the things, but that is my peaceful place. And the way that my mind works is always moving, right? My mind, when I wake up, and sometimes I can't sleep because my mind is always running a list. Well, with woodwork, if you want to keep your fingers, you have to focus.
Okay.
And so that allows me to absolutely focus on what it is that I'm doing because I can't afford to think of anything else. So you have to find those things that kind of carry you away.
Yeah.
But when you're done, you're accomplished, and you're like, man, I did that. And it didn't fall apart. That bench is still out there
It's
working.
still out there now.
Yes, and multiple people can sit on it.
So that really is her happy place, y'all. I remember for Courtney's last birthday, I went to get her gift, and Reggie was like, okay, what did we get her? And I said a Home Depot gift card. And he's like, why did we get her a Home Depot gift card? And I was like, I promise you, she's going to love it, and she's going to be super excited. And was I right?
You were absolutely
Yes,
right.
I know the people at Home Depot. I do.
Well, y'all, I'm going to tell you now, if you, I strongly encourage you to tap into Courtney's woodworking. You can follow the videos and things. Courtney, tell them where they can find you on social media.
You're so kind. So I do have a YouTube channel that needs some love, but I have videos on my phone and all the things. So it's called Cute and Crafty with Courtney. Same Cute and Crafty on Instagram as well. And so now that you have encouraged me, now I have to get back to posting. But it's out there. Take a look.
So you got videos that you just hadn't posted yet?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, you got to get those done.
Yes, I've built dressers. I've redone our laundry room. I redid Bernard's office. I redid his office. I'm currently working on a magazine box for Donovan's prom. It's lighted and everything. I'll show you pictures when we're done. But yeah, that's the biggest build I've done. It's 8 feet tall and 4 feet wide. Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness! You gotta get that. Y'all, she said that's cute and
crafty
with Courtney.
That's right.
Yeah, you gotta check that out, man. Again, the time has just flown by.
And I would encourage everyone to write down 3 things that you actually enjoy doing.
Mm-hmm.
Not what you enjoy with somebody else, not what other people enjoy, you.
Yes.
And then start there.
Guys, we really, really hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as we have. Remember, it's time to elevate.
Thanks for having me.